turtle that had been pulled from its shell, pancaked with makeup and let loose in a crowded gay bar. "You look beautiful," said my editor. "Oh, you need a drink." Why did the dissonance throw me? I often waded into the strange waters of my competing social impulses. 1, to anxiously compartmentalize people so that I could lead multiple lives. The other, to mix the compartmentalized with anarchic disregard like a child swirling finger paint into a muddy blur. Being thrown usually appealed to me. I wanted to see what happened when the colors kissed and started to bleed into one another. If only one of my siblings had dropped by in that moment, along with the elementary school teacher who had long ago encouraged my artistic leanings, along with the butch menthol-smoking pool player I was then sleeping with, and who remained unknown to all my other anxiously compartmentalized friends. Needless to say, this kind of thinking compromises any unified or consistent social identity. It can make for a fun party, if you have your vulnerably unmasked, half-drunk, and torn-between-persona party outfit on. I knew that I could never hack it as a serious drag queen, not when I refused to learn how to do my own makeup. Kate usually did it for me. I tucked a strand of synthetic hair behind my ear. I smiled, sipped nerve-soothing scotch through a straw so as not to imperil my lipstick, and chatted with my editor. Soon recollected, I went back to mingling, smoking with the sissies, the beefy bears, the indie queers with their trim little mustaches and their skinny arms sleeved in tattoos. After the banter and laughter, and a dozen farewell air kisses, Kate drove me to my apartment off Noe Street. There I washed the makeup from my face with baby oil and watched the whole mess run down the drain, while I stood naked in the shower humming a ringtone. Later still, Kate fell in love with a middle school science teacher. My editor became my friend. The cell phone costume sat gathering dust somewhere, and the order of the songs it once called to mind faded from my memory. A little less than 2 years earlier, at 23, the idea of becoming a real reporter, an actual journalist, took hold of me. I'd managed to support myself by freelancing for a couple of years in Portland, Oregon, churning out arts coverage, business-to-business ad copy, and the occasional informational brochure for a master-planned suburban housing community. More on this last job later. On the road to the Bay with my oldest friend Rachel, a lesbian driving a U-Haul to Berkeley, where we both planned to live with her girlfriend in a one-bedroom apartment, no further comment. I penned a lofty, confused review of a book commemorating the 50th anniversary of Allen Ginsberg's Howl. Even then, writing in my notebook as Rachel drove us down the Pacific Coast Highway, I hated the lofty and confused style I brought to the task. I'll work through this, I thought. I'll work through this lofty and confused style into something more perfect. At the very least, I considered, riding inside of a speeding U-Haul showed commitment to my ambitions. Not even lesbian relocation could stop me from sullying significant poetry with my posturing opinion, to the tune of 10 cents per word, I might add. It took me a few months, but soon I landed 2 part-time day jobs, plus a freelancing arrangement with one of the local news weeklies, plus an editorial internship in the San Francisco offices of The Onion, with the local edition of their Real News Arts and Entertainment division, the AV Club. I'd see those offices shuttered before long, but in the meantime a marvelous opportunity presented itself to make zero money while establishing myself as a writer of frivolous local newspaper articles. Doomsday prophecies about the death of print media hung over the city like one of its famous fogs, but my attitude remained one of, why worry about what's to be when I'm reporting on a honey-baked ham storefront for our special print-only Christmas pull-out now? A paid editorial staff of 1 managed the San Francisco edition of the AV Club, a harried and genial music writer named Mark. Mark toiled all day in a private office where precarious towers of CD jewel cases and an iMac that looked like a child's toy covered every inch of space on his desk. His voice, pinched with pressure but still enthusiastic, met me from behind this barricade. "Hey, what's up? What's going on?" He often kept his eyes on the computer screen as he greeted me, the white light from the word processor reflected in his glasses. Out on the sales floor, where another